On the morning of July 24th, 2021, I set out to catch CP train F17-24 on the Rockland Subdivision. While going through Newport, Maine, I came across Pan Am Railway's train WANM 24 with SD40-2606 in the lead, with my late friend David Bernier in the conductor's seat. I'd set up for a shot at Old Bangor Road before continuing on to Rockland. The catch of WANM made me get to Rockland late, but with the passing of Dave in March of 2023, I don't regret it for a minute. Rockland Subdivision has quite the history, being passed from Maine Central to Guilford in the 80s, then on to the Maine Coast Railroad into the 90s. When Maine Coast ceased operations, the line was acquired and rehabbed to passenger standards by the Maine DOT in the early 2000s. At the time, operations were contracted out to trucking company Safe Handling Transport from Auburn. Once the rebuild was complete, the Morristown-Erie Railroad of New Jersey won the bid for the operations contract, operating the line as the Maine Eastern Railway until 2015. Due to a variety of issues with Maine Eastern, in 2015, the Central Maine and Quebec Railway was selected as the new operator. CMQ would operate the line until 2020 when CMQ was acquired by the Canadian Pacific Railway. After the takeover, CP continued to operate the line but had little to no interest in the subdivision since it was isolated from the rest of the CP network, as well as the fact that CP just had little to no interest in the branch lines acquired with the Central Maine and Quebec purchase. So in 2021, it was announced that the Finger Lakes Railway would be subcontracted by CP to fulfill the remainder of the Central Maine and Quebec lease. So on this day, I set out to catch one of the last CP trains on the branch line. With the branch being isolated, there is no radio network, so the CP crew has to call the CP dispatcher via telephone to fill out their track warrant. As a result, I wouldn't catch up to them until they were conducting a flying switch at Dicaperl in Thomaston, where empty Perlite cars would be picked up. Today's power would consist of CP GP20C Eco 2279, rebuilt from a GP9 in the 2000s. The 2279 produces 2,000 horsepower and is comparable to a GP38. While the crew was switching Dicaperl, I would jump ahead to the Mill River Drawbridge. The Mill River Drawbridge is one of the many small-span drawbridges on the line, which was originally built to accommodate massive sailing ships in the 18 and 1900s. At one time, all of these bridges were manned. However, today, I believe all are locked in the closed position. After servicing drag and cement, I would shoot the train as it crossed the bridge. Normally, CP operations on the line happened during the weekdays. However, a lack of paperwork meant a cut of cement cars at Dragon would have to be moved over the weekend, allowing for me to catch this weekend installment of the train. Once the train passed, I attempted to beat them to the St. George River Bridge. However, traffic prevented me from doing that. However, I did beat them to Goshen Road in Waldoboro, which is located on a steep grade and has stalled many trains over the years. However, this day, the single locomotive was enough to beat the grade. Being unfamiliar with the subdivision, I just barely beat the train to Waldoboro. From Waldoboro, I would jump to Water Street in Wiscasset. Note the Dodge pickup truck parked close to the tracks. I assumed the driver parked like this so that the boat trailer wouldn't block the parking lot. However, the truck was fouling the track, so not long after arriving, I called the CP 1-800 number. My call was transferred to the CP police dispatcher rather than the CP dispatch center, which was handling the dispatching for the Rockland sub on this day. After spending some time filling out a lengthy report, the dispatcher said they would contact the desk which was dispatching that day. Shortly after ending my phone call, I could hear F-17 blowing for the sewage treatment plant crossing nearby. Even if the CP police dispatcher was able to alert the correct desk, where there is no radio network on the branch, the crew most likely still wouldn't have been alerted to the obstruction ahead of time. As the crew came around the corner, they spotted the truck and put the train into emergency. Not long after, the conductor got off and tried to walk the train by the truck, but the clearance was not enough.
Oh, you're getting shot? Yeah.
By this time, a large crowd of people had gathered in the area. While the conductor was getting an onlooker to call Wiscasset PD to get the vehicle towed, an off-duty tow truck driver, who had a universal key, was able to move the truck far enough away from the tracks so the train could pass. After the conductor jotted down the plate number, F-17 was back underway.
I was going to say, this might be even more interesting than what you were hoping for.
Yeah.
Number down, and then let that guy know.
The next shot would be the Carlton Bridge in Bath, Maine, adjacent to the General Dynamics Bath Ironworks shipyard. This 94-year-old lift bridge still sees use a few times a month. Normally it sits in the up position, but after a boat in this video passes, the operator will lower the span for the train. Originally the bridge hosted a road deck for Route 1. The remnants can be seen above the rail deck. However, the road deck was closed on August 1st, 2000 when the adjacent, to the left of my camera, Sagadahoc Bridge was opened.
Well, here comes the boat. She's going to let the boat go first.
Although the Carlton Bridge is in a state of semi-disrepair, it is the southernmost bridge on the Kennebec River, and is in the area where the Kennebec River officially terminates. CP also crosses the start of the Kennebec River at the east outlet of Moosehead Lake on the Moosehead Subdivision, which is unique since it is the only railroad in Maine to cross both the start and end of a river.
I think I'll just go to the Amtrak station then.
Fixed a lawn tractor that they got, and he's been doing the mowing.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to start recording.
From Bath, I would jump to Rock Junction in Brunswick. To the left is the out-of-service DOT-owned Lower Road, running from here to Augusta and then to Waterville. To The line was closed to road freights in the 80s under Guilford. Maine Coast then took over operations until freight traffic, which included interchange traffic with Guilford, as well as a beer distributor, dried up in the 90s. The last train ran over the line in 2010 as part of an excursion by Maine Eastern. Today the line is impassable in several spots due to washouts and a missing bridge. After dropping the cars for Pan Am at the interchange, CP would head back to Rockland Light. Here they are seen passing the Brunswick Y, which is part of the DOT-owned Lewiston Lower, which is also out of service. After notifying Pan Am Railway's dispatch that they were clear of Pan Am Railway's track, I would chase east to Bath, once again shooting at the former Maine Central Station in Bath. Route 1 can be seen in the background. To the left is Bath Iron Works, which constructs destroyers for the U.S. Navy. From Bath, I'd try a shot I did during the Maine Eastern area at Woolwich. However, I found it is now a tree tunnel since I shot there last. However, the shot didn't come out how I expected, although with a long hood forward locomotive and backlit conditions, there wasn't a whole lot to work with. I then bypassed the traffic nightmare that Wiscasset is on a Saturday afternoon in August, Jumping ahead to Damariscotta Mills, where a large causeway is located. I would just barely beat the train to Winslow's Mills in Waldoboro due to traffic. The next shot would be Finntown Road in Warren, which is located at the top of a steep grade. This is another hill which proves to be a pain for crews during inclement weather. Jumping ahead once again, I found myself just over the Warren-Thomaston line at the St. George River Bridge in Warren. This is another short span drawbridge, which allowed for schooners to traverse many of these small rivers. At Thomaston, F-17 would pick up a loaded Perlite car from a spur. This would be dropped at Dicaperl as seen in the first shot, so it could be unloaded. This would be the final shot of the day, as F-17 would tie down at Rockland. Not long after this video was filmed, it was announced that the cement shuttle running from Dragon to the Rockland waterfront would cease. Although Dragon stated the cars were age-restricted by CP and can no longer be used in a press release, information I received was that the barge needed to be replaced, not the rail cars. This was the largest business on the branch. With the loss of this business, FGLK put a hold on the takeover until negotiations could be held between Dragon and other customers about traffic on the branch. Stay tuned for part 2, continuing the story of the branch and covering CP's last day of operations.